Round of peace talks here by the Oslo Fjord. So a big congratulations. There have been challenging discussions along the way, but both parties have been very solution-oriented and they have skillfully managed to overcome all hurdles. And today they have agreed on a joint statement that brings the Philippines one step closer to just and lasting peace. So we will now proceed with the closing statements of both sides, followed by questions by the press. So please, Secretary Teresa, the floor is yours.
I have a long prepared statement, but I'll just distribute this later. First of all, in behalf of the Philippine government and our President, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, would like to sincerely express gratitude and thanks to the Royal Norwegian government for providing all the support and the facilitation that makes all of this possible. Today is doubly significant because we are signing the second round joint statement on the very day that we are celebrating and marking a milestone in the Duterte administration, which is the 100th day of incumbency. And our work in the peace process, both here in this table and in the other tables, are landmarks already and milestones that have been included in the first 100 days of our president. We'd like to commend the panels and, of course, the work done by the reciprocal working committees, because they were really our engines of work in crafting not only the joint statement, but the framework and outlines. There will be a lot of work more to be done, but these are milestones today. We hope that we stay the course in spite of challenges along the way. This is not an easy task, and I always say we may have to look and consider humps and bumps along the way, because the road to peace is not well paved. But if we stay the course, then we'll come to our final destination. So in behalf again of our panel, the Philippine government, we'd like to thank our counterpart in the GRP-NDF, my counterpart, Sir Joma Sison, and welcome the new chair who had steered the GRP-NDF panel. Very
Condolence, not congratulations.
Yes, congratulate you for staying the course with us. So we'd like to thank everyone again, including the Norwegian government and the charming facilitation of our facilitator, Ambassador Elizabeth Slaton.
Maraming salamat po. Professor Sison, Chief Political Consultant of the NDFP, the floor is yours.
The Honorable Special Envoy Elizabeth Slaton and other officials of the Royal Norwegian Government, Honorable Silvestre Pelio III and Fidelan Kawili, Honorable Jesus Teresa, beloved compatriots in the GRP and NDFP panels and delegations, and all dear friends present. As NDFP Chief Political Consultant, I congratulate both the GRP and NDFP panels and delegations for the successful conclusion of the second round of formal talks in the GRP-NDFP peace negotiations. The most essential success that has been achieved is the agreement on common outlines of prospective comprehensive agreements on social and economic reforms, political and constitutional reforms, and the end of hostilities and disposition of forces. The schedule for fleshing out of the outlines and eventual exchange of drafts and bilateral meetings to forge the tentative comprehensive agreements have been further firmed up. There is mutual understanding on the rendering of justice to the unjustly imprisoned political prisoners accumulated during the Arroyo and Aquino regimes through prompt compliance with the Comprehensive Agreement on Respect for Human Rights and International Humanitarian Law, or the CARIL. I reiterate that the amnesty and release of all political prisoners will be a big incentive to the attainment of a more stable joint or bilateral ceasefire and to the acceleration of the peace process. The success of the second round of talks has been possible because of the mindful, caring, and efficient facilitation provided by the RNG and in particular Special Envoy Elizabeth Slaughter and her entire team, and by the Norwegian Peace Building Resource Center, the NOREM. We thank all of you.
Maraming salamat po. Secretary Bello, Chairperson of the GRP Negotiating Panel.
Thank you, Madam Elizabeth Slaughter, soon to be the Prime Minister of Norway. Okay. My counterpart, Fidel, the Chief Political Consultant of the NDF, EPP-NPA, Manong Jo, the other members of the NDF panel, my boss in the peace process, Secretary Teresa, yes. Our panel members, Nani, Rene, Anging, Tony, and the two very young advisors, Mayor Ed Pham and Professor De Vera, our honorable members of the House of Representatives. During the past 3 days, sorry, I'll use my dark glasses, we advanced what we have accomplished in August. And given the efforts put in by both panels and their working committees, including that of our third-party facilitator, we substantially achieved the work at hand, which is to craft the common frames and outlines for our draft agreements on socio-economic reforms, political and constitutional reform, and end of hostilities and disposition of forces. We also convened in this round of talks the Joint Monitoring Committee under the CARIL, which is the first substantive issue signed between the GRP and the NDFP, and agreed on the joint activities of the GRP and NDF monitoring committees for the next 12 to 15 months. More importantly, the JMC, the Joint Monitoring Committee of the CARIL, commenced its discussion of the supplemental guidelines to allow the full operation of the committee. As a high point of this round of talks, the ceasefire committees of the panels met and discussed the draft agreement on the joint ceasefire for submission to the panels by the 26th day of this month, hopefully. The agreement on the joint ceasefire is also signed by the panels this month, and if I may propose, the signing of the joint ceasefire agreement be held in Davao, in the presence of no less than President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, the prime mover for restoring the peace process. The disagreements and arguments that accompanied the work of some of our working committees are understandable, given the scope and magnitude of the task before them. But we will continue to encounter difficulties and potential differences in the succeeding rounds of talks. But we will not waver from our resolve to overcome the things that divide us and fortify the ones that unite us. By this, our journey to forging a negotiated settlement of the armed conflict will be more navigable. You will agree with me that the table before us is meant to achieve greater work for peace, and by that time, we will marvel on the premium of peace with the lives of our people. We look forward to the next round of talks, maybe the third week of January, and in a place to the satisfaction of Secretary Braganza. Even as the GRP panel, in coordination with the NDF panel, will continue to work for the release, Mr. Fidel, for the release of prisoners to further strengthen the confidence of the public on the peace process. I cannot thank enough the support extended by Special Envoy Elizabeth Islatum and her team for the successful holding of this round of talks and to the peace process in general. Madam Elizabeth, thank you for being a valued part of the quest for peace. I also would like to reiterate on behalf of my panel and my boss, Secretary Teresa, our recognition of Fidel Al-Kawili as the new NDF panel chairman. Nakakatakot, pero okay na. And the panel membership of Benito Jamson, who can further enrich our discussion. Also, let me again convey the panel's appreciation to Carlo Randoni, whose dedicated work while serving as NDF panel chair and as senior advisor to the NDF panel, we trust will continue to lend his wise counsel to the negotiations. Our accomplishment in this round of talks will be another contribution of the GRP and the NDF to the first 100 days of the Duterte administration, which we mark today. Allow me likewise to reiterate our thanks to the members of the House of Representatives who join us as observers in this round of talks, namely, she led earlier Deputy Speaker by Sandra Zema and the Chairman of the Special Committee on Peace and Reconciliation, Honorable Ruby Sahali, Honorable Leopoldo Bartawi, Honorable Nancy Katamko, Honorable Jesus Sakdalan, and Honorable Kaloy Isagani Sarate. Nasaan si Kaloy? Nasa kaliwa, nasa kanan. Oh, I just want to be sure. And of course, with the special mention, who is inheriting the crusade of her father, the Venerable Governor Manong Apingap, Governor Susanya. But this should assure all of us, I'm referring to the congressmen present and congresswomen, of their solidarity to the national quest for peace and to the President's peace initiative to end the armed conflict with the NDF, CPP, and PAY. Thank you very much, and peace to all of you.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Akawili, chairperson of the NDFP negotiating panel, the floor is yours.
Yeah. As the new chairperson of the NDFP negotiating panel, I must confess I still have to acclimatize myself to the formalities attached to the position. I don't have any closing speech. I did not prepare one. So I will just, let me just say that on behalf of the NDFP panel and the entire delegation, we would like to express our appreciation to the Royal Norwegian government, their facilitation and their patience during these last 3 days, especially to Ambassador Special Envoy Elizabeth Slato. Of course, we also I would extend our appreciation to the GRP panel and their delegation for staying with us, no? Especially with respect to the issues that we have long-standing differences over, no? Of course, I would like to extend my thanks to the NDF panel and its delegation for and the staff for their active participation and support during these last 3 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And before we proceed with questions from the press, I would just like to acknowledge and thank the RNG team who have worked day and night to make